Today we're going to show you how to set up networking on our racing PCs. So we have a line of 4 PCs set up here, all straight out of the box. And we're going to show you the steps that it takes to get them connected up and running together. So these PCs are all connected via Ethernet cable to the 4 orange ports on the back of the router. There's one other port, and that is the WAN blue port. If you have an Ethernet cable from your home router, you can plug it straight into there, and you will have internet then on all of the PCs in your network. There are other ways to get an Ethernet cable there, including Powerline converters, and contact us for more information on that. First thing we're going to do is go to the settings menu, and we are going to check the system info. We'll check on both machines. They should be identical on all 4 machines actually, but we'll just check the 2. So as system info comes up, you will see that it is configured as player 1. This one's quicker, player 1 of 2, and it is got an IP from our network router, but not the correct one. So we need to make some changes here, and we're going to turn the config menu on. We'll do that on both PCs. Get the config menu on. It reboots the machine, and then we'll come back to make the next adjustments. Okay, now when it reboots, we can bypass these videos, and you'll notice the config menu is now turned on both of our machines. Inside the config menu, we can do some things that we normally don't give access to, including changing to a widescreen. We're going to get into that later on this one. You'll see some of the changes there. The other thing that we can do is convert to different players, and we can configure our router. So this one is already player 1. We can still do a configuration for player 1, and you'll see why. It does not convert. It only asks the question, how many cabs are in your network? 2 to 4. So it will default to 2. I'm going to enter 2 because that is what we want. We're going to go back to the config menu, and now we're going to do the router auto config. So we're going to configure the router that comes with your kit, and we're going to configure it for player 1 on this machine. Each one has to be done separately, and you'll see why. So router auto config, we're going to run that. It will log into the router for us and do the changes that we need it to do. If it doesn't work the first time, you can try it again, but I did it just perfectly. So the router is rebooting right now. We'll go and check on that one in a moment. We're going to go to player 2. Like we said, we checked it a minute ago. It's still a player 1 because that's how it comes out of the box. We're going to convert it to a player 2. Gives you a warning and a chance to abort, just in case you didn't really mean to do that. And again, it asks the question, how many cabs are in your network? Well, right now there are 2. Player 1 and player 2, that's all we're worried about. So I'll put in a 2, and now it will reboot. So if we go back to settings, check system info, we are player 1 of a 2-player network. It's a 4-3 screen, and our IP is .1. 1 and player 1 are the same. That is what we want. So this one is set up and ready to go. We can actually turn the config menu toggle off now. We will do that. We'll go back to player 2. We'll double check our system info again. So it's player 2 of a 2-player network, 4-3 screen. More about that later. It has the wrong IP address. We have to program the router. So we go to the config menu and router auto config. This again is going to log into the router. Okay, so this messed up, and the reason it messed up is because I started it too early. We have a few scripts that run when it first boots up. So it actually recognized that something went wrong, and it says basically, we'll just try again. So we will try it again. To avoid that happening, just give it 60 seconds or so, or let the whole video play. Is actually the safest way to do it. Like we let that whole video play. Now the scripts will be done. It won't interrupt our next steps. And as you can see, it's working fine now. And the router is rebooting. So we're going to go back to settings. We have to give the router about 45 seconds to reboot, and then we will check our system info one more time. Okay, the router is rebooted. Let's go to system info, make sure we have the correct IP. Okay, so we're configured player 2 of 2, and our IP is .2. So they match. That means it is correct. We're going to go to config menu, toggle that back off, and once it reboots, we're going to try 2-player games. Now that we've rebooted, both computers are networked together with our router. Now we can go to the networking menu item. We can do this on either machine, doesn't matter which one we pick. We're going to go into the network, and we are going to pick this game right here. It's the first one that came up, NX GT Superbike. When I load this, it will automatically load on the player 2 as well. It has not loaded on player 3 or player 4 because they are not currently in our network. As you can see, oh, it just connected, and now they are loading up. So there you go. We have 2 machines networked together. You'll notice this second display is still a 4:3 stretched to fit the screen. Not ideal. And we're going to go into widescreen options later. So exit those 2 games. I'm going to go into the networking menu on player 2, and I'm going to pick Indy 500. Let's try that one. Once again, loading on both machines. So this particular game finds itself pretty fast. Some take longer than others. And there you go. They are networked together. If you start the game, you have the option to play together. This is one of the very cool games where you see a panoramic of the networked machines beside each other, and it is really quite mesmerizing to watch. Okay, so we'll try another one. We're going to try everybody's favorite, Mario Kart. This one takes a little longer to load, but again, fully automated, ready to go. So after it loads up, you can see it's recognizing there are 2 players, and you can play against each other. So what if you wanted to play a single player game just on the player 2? Then any game that's not in the network menu, that's what you would go to. So if we go to the same game we just saw, Indy 500, I load it from the regular racing menu. Then it loads by itself independently of the other system. If I try loading a network game from the player 1 while player 2 is busy, it'll just ignore it. So different games network differently. Main games, some of them are quite tricky. We have Rave Racer and Ridge Racer 2 working. So for instance, we will try that. And you'll see they both load up. This is only working on 2 players at a time. You can't do more than 2. I'll show you that later as well. But it works very well, just like that. There are over 100 networked games ready to go. They will all work right out of the box. Some connect differently than others. And there you go, just like that. So that is all there is to hooking up 2 PCs to our network. What if we want to add a third? If we want to add a third PC to our existing network, it is basically exactly the same. We're going to go back to our config menu, which we've already turned on this machine. We are going to go to convert this to a player 3. Again, you do need a keyboard connected because you have to answer this next question. It is only going to give us the option of a 3 or 4 player network because you wouldn't have a player 3 if you only had a 2-player network. So we are going to say 3 and let it do its thing. It will reboot. After rebooting, we go back to the config menu and we will run router auto config on the player 3. While it does its magic there, we have one small change to make on each of player 1 and player 2. If you're paying attention, you can probably figure out what that is. We've turned config menu back on. We are going to go back to convert player 2. This is already a player 2, so it's not actually converting anything. We're just telling it how many cabs are now in our network. We now have 3. We'll do the same thing here. We're converting it to a player 1. It is already a player 1. It knows that. And it just wants to know how many cabs are in the network. It's most important for player 1. Player 1 has to have the correct number. Player 2, you'll get away with it on most. Player 1 has to have the correct number. Normally we would turn the config menu off at this point. Everything runs better when you do that. I'm going to skip it for now because of course we're going to be adding player 4 in just a minute. I'm going to go to the networking menu and let's go with what we just tried before, virtual racing, except now it should come up on 3 machines. Two slaves and a master, and there you go. They are all connected, just like that. Let's pick a different one we haven't tried before. Yeah, let's do superbikes. And there you go, player 1 was a little bit behind, but as you can see, it recognizes there are 3 ready to go. This time we're going to start a game from the player 3 machine, we're going to go to the networking menu, and we're going to pick this new motorcycle game. And there you go. Up to 3 players can race. Just like that. So if you're paying attention, you know that adding the 4th player is as simple as converting to player 4. Telling it there are 4 cabs in the network. It's really the only choice you have. And it will reboot. While we wait for that to reboot, we're going to go back to the config change to player 3 option here. We're going to say we want 4 players in the network. And finally, player 1, we will change to 4-player network as well. And we are now going to turn the config menu off on all the machines because it works a little bit better that way. On our player 4, we have one more step, and that is to config the router, let that run. Completely on its own. And then we're going to turn the config menu off on here because we're confident it will be correct. Now, after these reboot, we have a 4-player network. Okay, we've rebooted. We're going to go to the networking menu. And we're going to go straight to Mario Kart. Mario Kart is one of the slower games to load, but as you can see, it is loading up, and they will be finding each other. Oh, it already says it can be played with 4 people. So there you go. Who doesn't want to play 4-player Mario Kart? We're going to look at Sega Rally 3. So the reason that I like this game is the panoramic is fantastic, as you'll see
Sega Rally 3
in just a moment. Just doesn't get much cooler than that. But we can't stop this demo without checking out Daytona. And there you go. Considering how old this game is by now, the panoramic on this is fabulous. So that's one Daytona. Here's a brand new game we just got networking. Let's give this one a try. Dead heat. There you go, up to 4 can race. Camera works with this game as well, so that's kind of cool. Okay, we mentioned some of the games are only 2-player. Actually, we'll do Rave Racer. We already did Ridge Racer. So when you do Rave Racer together, you'll notice only player 1 and player 2 connect, because that's all that is currently supported. The other 2 cabs are free to go. If you know anything about networking, then you'll know that OutRun 2 is one of the trickier ones to run while being able to play it as a standalone at the same time. So let's give that a try. Let's see if we pulled that off. And there you go, they're all connected. So let's just double check, make sure we do have this working right. If I go into our single player racing menu and go back to OutRun 2 from the same computer that just launched all 4 of the others, it will only load on player 1, and it will still load successfully. There you go, it still loads up as a single player. The other players can play different games if they would like. That takes us to the end of part 1 of our video. It shows you all the networking setup for 2 to 4 player networks. The next video, we're going to show you how to convert to widescreen.